Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. This is Mrs. Maldonado. I have a fun shape lesson for you in math. And then at the end of our lesson, boys and girls, we're going to have a shape shifting dance. So please join me for our lesson today. So our first question is, how many sides does a square have? Okay, so let's write 1, 2, 3, 4. So our square has 4 sides. How many corners does a circle have? Do we see any corners, boys and girls? I don't see any corners. So a circle is just round. It does not have any corners. So a circle has 0 corners. And remember, boys and girls, that when we refer to corners, we could also say vertices. Okay, so corners and vertices are the same thing. So how many corners does a rectangle have? Okay, so corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, corners and vertices are the same thing. Okay, so a rectangle has 4 vertices or 4 corners. How many sides does a triangle have? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3. It has 3 sides. So triangles have 3 sides. How many sides does this shape have? Wow, this is a pretty unique shape, boys and girls. Let's find out how many sides this shape has. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This shape has 5 sides. Okay. A square has more sides than a triangle. So we have our square here, and a square has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Then we have a triangle that has 1, 2, 3 sides. Okay, a circle has fewer corners than a square. And remember, boys and girls, that when we refer to corners, we also want to remember this vocabulary word, vertices. Okay, so a circle has fewer corners than a square. That means it has less. So actually, boys and girls, a circle has none. It has 0. Okay, so vertices for the square or corners, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, we have a question here to answer. Which shape has fewer corners? Remember, corners, vertices. Okay, which shape has fewer corners? A circle. Okay, how many vertices or corners does a circle have? It has 0. Or a square. How many does a square have? It has 4. Or the shapes have the same number of corners. Does it have the same number of corners? No, it does not. The circle has fewer corners. Fewer means less, boys and girls. That's another word for less. Arrange the shapes from least corners to most corners. And remember, corners is the same thing as vertices. We want to refer to vertices. Okay, so let's count first and see how many they have. How many vertices they have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this square has 4 corners, 4 vertices. A circle has 0 corners, 0 vertices. A triangle has 1, 2, 3. It has 3 vertices or 3 corners. So the least would be the smaller number and the most would be the bigger number. So we have circles going to go first. Okay, so I'm going to put a number 1. And then the triangle is going to go second. And then the square is going to go third. Okay, so the circle would be here, then it would be the triangle, and then it would be the square over here. So circle, triangle, and square, because we want to put it from least to most, vertices or corners. Arrange the shapes from least corners to most corners. Remember, when we're talking about corners, we're referring to corners. We also want to remember vertices. Okay, because that's probably what you're going to hear sometimes in class or from your teachers. It's vertices, okay? The same thing as corners. Okay, so let's count first before we put them in order. So this is a triangle. 1, 2, 3. This one has 3 corners or 3 vertices. We have a rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. This rectangle has 4 corners or 4 vertices. Then we have a circle, and the circle has 0 corners, 0 vertices. It has none. Okay, so we're going to put it from least, from the smaller number of vertices to the most number of vertices. So we know that the circle would go here, then the triangle would go here, and finally the square, or I'm sorry, the rectangle would go last because that's the one that has the most vertices. Arrange the shapes from least sides to most sides. Okay, so we're going to shift from vertices or corners. Now we're going to look for sides, boys and girls. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 sides. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and the circle is just one straight round circle. Okay, so it has 0 sides. All right, so remember the least, that's from the smaller number to the most or the bigger number. Okay, so we're gonna have the circle go first, then we're gonna have the triangle here, and finally, we're going to have our square at the end because it has the most sides. Okay, which shape has fewer corners? Okay, corners, or we can also refer it to vertices. Okay, which shape has fewer vertices? Which shape has fewer corners? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a square and it has 4 vertices or 4 corners. A triangle has 1, 2, 3. A triangle has 3 corners, 3 vertices. The same thing. All right, which shape has fewer corners? Okay, so is the square 4 and a triangle is 3. Which one is fewer? Which one's a smaller number? It is the triangle. And the last choice was the shapes have the same number of corners. Well, they don't, boys and girls, right? One has more than the other. But the one that has fewer, that's our key word, fewer, is the triangle. Which shape has more sides? So now we're looking at sides. We said that the circle is just one straight round shape. It has 0 sides. Okay, a triangle has 1, 2, 3 sides. So which one has more sides? Is it a circle, a triangle, or the shapes have the same number of sides? Which one is it? We know that it's the triangle because the triangle has 3 sides. The circle has 0 sides. Which shape has more sides? Okay, the circle is just one straight round shape, and the triangle has 1, 2, 3. Okay, so which shape has more sides? Is it the circle, okay, 0, or is it the triangle that has 3? Or the shapes have the same number of sides? Well, we know the one that has more is the triangle. Which shape has more corners? Corners or We can refer to it as vertices. Okay, so let's count. For the triangle, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 vertices or 3 corners. For the rectangle, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 vertices or 4 corners. So our keyword here is more. So more would be the bigger number, okay, of corners or vertices. The triangle has 3, the rectangle has 4. The shapes have the same number of corners. Well, we know that the one that has the most vertices or corners is the rectangle. It has 4. The triangle only has 3. Which shape has fewer sides? So fewer would be a smaller number, boys and girls. Well, let's count the sides. The triangle has 1, 2, 3 sides. Let's count to see how many sides a rectangle has. 1, 2, 3, 4. A rectangle has 4. A triangle has 3. All right. So fewer, boys and girls, means smaller, a lesser number. Okay, fewer. So which one is the smaller number, 3 or 4? We have, is it the triangle, the rectangle, or the shapes have the same number of sides? We know that fewer is the triangle because the rectangle has more. It's greater than 3. Okay, so now we have a math dance video, boys and girls, and these are our shapes, sides, and vertices. So we have our circle, our triangle, a square, our rectangle, our rhombus, our pentagon, and our hexagon. Okay, so now we are going to move right along to our video. Okay, boys and girls, so now get ready to stand up and move around. Okay, this is a dance with shapes song.
Boogie. Ping pong. Roll around, circle. Sir, 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 circle. Roll, roll, round and round and round. Sir, 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 circle. Roll, roll, round and round.
Stool, stool, square. Square. Stop, stop, here and there. Square. Stop, here and there.
Slide, slide, triangle. Triangle. Slide, slide, left and right. Triangle. Slide, left and right.
Point, point, diamond. Diamond. Point your finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Diamond. Point 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, sorry, boys and girls, my computer is loading.
Roll around, circle. Sir, 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 circle. Roll, roll, round and round and round. Sir, 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 circle. Roll, roll, round and round.
Stool, stool, square. Square. Stop, stop, here and there. Square. Stop, here and there.
Slide, slide, triangle. Triangle. Slide, slide, left and right. Triangle. Slide, left and right.
Point, point, diamond. Diamond. Point your finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Diamond. Point 1, 2, 3, 4.
Shake, shake, star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake, shake your hands. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake your hands. Choo, choo, heart. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, 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 give a kiss. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, choo, I love you. Round and round, sir, 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 circle, roll, roll, round and round.
Stool, square. Square, stomp, stomp, here and there. Square, stomp, here and there.
Slide, triangle. Triangle, slide, left and right. Triangle, slide, left and right. Point, diamond. Diamond. Point your finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Diamond. Point 1, 2, 3, 4.
Shake, shake, star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake, shake your hands. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake your hands. Choo, choo, heart. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, 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 give a kiss. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, choo, I love you. Oh, sir, 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 circle, roll, roll, round and round and round. Sir, 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 circle, roll, roll, round and round.
Stool, square. Square, stomp, stomp, here and there. Square, stomp, here and there.
Slide, triangle. Triangle, slide, left and right. Triangle, slide, left and right. Point, diamond. Diamond. Point your finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Diamond. Point 1, 2, 3, 4.
Shake, shake, star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake, shake your hands. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Shake, shake your hands. Choo, choo, heart. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, 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 give a kiss. Ha, 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 heart. Choo, choo, I love you.
Okay, boys and girls, I have another quick video for you. This is a shape-shifting dance, and I hope you enjoy it.
Boys and girls, let's make some shapes.
Cones, squares, and triangles are great.
And let's all be stars.
Hey guys, let's get ready to move to learn. We're going to learn about shapes.
Shape-shifting, leave those shapes. Shape-shifting, leave those shapes. Shape-shifting, leave those shapes.
Get ready to learn about our first shape. Here it comes.
I want to see your arms going around and around, drawing some circles to
You're
the
doing
side.
great.
Circle,
Big circle.
circle in, circle, circle in. Ice cream is good on its own. It's even better in a cone. Cones, open high. Cones, to the sky.
Awesome, guys. We've learned about shapes. We're going to have some more next. Let's see if you know these shapes. All right, I bet you know this one.
Triangles are made of 3 sides. The music's gonna take you on some rides. Triangles, 1, 2, 3. Triangles, 1, 2, 3. Queen Bee has a favorite shape she confides. Hexagons like honeycombs have 6 sides. Hexagons, watch these tricks. Hexagons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Awesome, guys. You're doing great learning about shapes.
Shape-shifting, make
We're
those
going to learn some more shapes. Let's see if you know these shapes coming up. Here we go. I bet you know this one.
I wanna see your arms making a square. 4 corners equal sides in the air. Squares, making squares. Squares, making squares. I wanna see good attitude. A square-sided box is called a cube. Cubes, 6 sides that are square. Cubes, draw 'em in the air.
You're working hard today learning
Rectangles to the song. Two sides short, two sides long. Rectangles, rectangles to the song. Rectangles with two short sides and two long.
Here's another one.
Can you make the next shape? I sure hope. A cylinder looks like a telescope. Cylinders, cylinders, what do you see?
Awesome.
Cylinders,
Doing
cylinders,
great.
looking at me. Shape shifting, make those shapes.
Let's see if you can review some shapes with me in just a minute. Let's see what you've learned today.
Make those shapes.
All right, we're going to see if you remember how to do the big circle. Good. Big circle together. Let's do two more. One more. Awesome. Let's see what you remember about a triangle. Remember, a triangle has three sides. Good job. Let's make two more. All right, let's see if you remember the square. Remember, a square has four sides. Awesome. Let's do one more square. Good job. Let's breathe in together. And exhale. Inhale. Big exhale. Good job with the shape learning today. You made some shapes. You learned a lot.
Now show your teachers what you were taught.